Majesty Day, everyone. Welcome to the ADI United Advocates for Unity podcast. We are Ateneans who fight for what's right through friendly feuding to seek the middle ground between two opposing teams on certain social, economic, or environmental issues. Our topic for this episode is clean water and sanitation, also known as the UNSDG 6. Now, allow me to introduce our guests on the Allied team, environmentalist advocates Ms. Chloe Guzman and Ms. Shanna Oy with Geralde as their researcher. As for the opposing side, we have CEOs from different oil companies, Ellen Bejarin and Jazz Rescallar, with Jan Renil Alejandro as their researcher. Before we formally begin, I kindly ask our guests to repeat after me for our oath taking.
I swear by Almighty God that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that I remain respectful and mindful of my words, and lastly, to finish this podcast leaving with an open mind, heart, and soul.
The lack of clean water and sanitation is an alarming and present issue here in the Philippines. Many struggle with having access to water. From my own personal experience, I wasn't able to have water for days or weeks even. However, this issue doesn't just affect our country. The United Nations have developed its goals to sustain such global problems to achieve clean water and sanitation. That is only one of the 17 UN SDGs. They quote, "The Sustainable Development Goals are a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and improve the lives and prospects for everyone, everywhere." Because that is the world that they want us to live in. Which leads us to our first prompt. What kind of world do you wish to live in? I repeat, what kind of world do you wish to live in?
As CEOs, me and Ellen would agree that we wish to live in a world wherein our company's share are continually thriving and our efforts always pay off.
Despite the accusations that oil companies are greedy, our company continues to ensure that we invest in research and development to minimize the environmental impact, promote renewable energy sources, and enhance the overall efficiency of our operation. To prove our claim, Mr. Jan Renil, our researcher, will provide the facts that present the validity of our argument.
I've conducted thorough research and the data supports by the investments made by our company in sustainable practices. For instance, our initiatives have significantly reduced carbon emissions and their commitment to renewable energy sources is evident in our portfolio's increasing percentage of clean energy. These efforts are aligned with international standards and regulations, emphasizing our dedication to environmental responsibility.
We, however, wish to live in a healthy, safe, and sustainable world. As an advocate devoted to alleviating water and sanitation problems, we integrate the concept of deep ecology into our daily lives, not just for the people but also for the environment itself. This concept emphasizes a way of life that is centered on caring for the environment, which includes two aspects, namely self-realization and biocentric equality. Self-realization highlights that people grow with nature, while biocentric equality sheds light on the idea that all organisms form part of a whole and are united.
On top of what Shanna had just said, we are leaning towards environmentalism, which focuses on taking actions and measures to combat environmental issues and achieve environmental protection and preservation. In our case, we focus on the problem of unclean water and sanitation, and we have been conducting alleviation efforts such as programs and donation drives to help communities and create sustainable environmental change. Additionally, we wanted to exemplify environmental stewardship. Thus, we have long decided to fulfill our role as caretakers of the environment and continuously execute these efforts.
Wow, very interesting worlds and aspirations. Actually, as a continuation for the first prompt, the next question is, what have you been doing to achieve your goals? I repeat, what have you been doing to achieve your goals?
One of the misconceptions about oil companies like mine is that we completely disregard the well-being of our environment for the sake of our gain. I would like to set things straight. Our company ensures that society is provided with quality oil. Hence, it is inevitable for nature not to face even a hint of loss or destruction. Nonetheless, we make sure that if there is any complication, it will be dealt with immediately. Regardless of what the environmentalists claim, our operations will continue. After all, you cannot gain something without even sacrificing a bit.
And it's important to acknowledge the critical role that oil companies play in sustaining our modern way of life and meeting the global energy demands. While it is true that extracting and providing quality oil is essential, especially in this generation, it's equally crucial to address environmental concerns and implement robust ecological management strategies.
Thank you, Jazz and Ellen. What about you, Chloe and Shanna?
As advocates, we walk the walk. We have been constantly conducting efforts such as programs and seminars to alleviate the conditions of the environment and communities. We believe these actions pave the way to fostering sustainable change and creating a better quality of life for everyone. Going back to what Alan and Jazz had discussed, we would like to expound on a critical issue plaguing our communities: water contamination caused by oil companies.
That's right, Chloe, and with the help of Jaira, our researcher, we have concrete evidence of these actions.
The article highlights the profound impact of oil spill on water sources, a pressing issue we're discussing today. According to Hancock, oil spills occur when liquid petroleum is released into the environment due to human activities. These spills can contaminate various water sources, threatening aquatic ecosystem and human health. This article emphasizes the severe environmental consequences, including harm to marine life, destruction of ecosystems, and long-lasting damage to affected areas. Hancock highlights the potential health risks for humans consuming water contaminated by oil spill. Furthermore, the article addresses the challenges associated with cleaning up oil spill. The cleanup effort often falls short, leaving lasting environmental damage.
Thank you, Jaira. As to what Jaira mentioned, contamination of water is a severe threat to the environment as it can destroy aquatic habitats, interfere with local biodiversity, raise moral questions about public health, and impact ecosystem health as overall. Poor sanitation practices frequently lead to problems with regulatory compliance.
I agree. That is why ethical considerations should be emphasized for sustainable practices, transparency, and commitment to environmental and social well-being in line with Sustainable Development Goal number 6. Our moral duty as responsible stewards is to protect the environment and human health.
Thank you. Now, the following prompt is directed to our CEO guests. Amidst the success of the oil company that both of you are working for, are you confident that you aren't compromising the environment just for sales growth? I repeat, amidst the success of the oil company that both of you are working for, are you confident that you aren't compromising the environment just for sales growth? Are you being responsible?
Well, you see, freedom is a foundational principle that has shaped our societies and economies. It encompasses the liberty to pursue goals, make choices, and engage in commerce. In the realm of oil companies, this freedom plays a crucial role. Our company, often at the forefront of energy production, contributes to the foundation of our modern lifestyles. They power our homes, fuel our vehicles, and drive technological advancements. Essentially, we affirm the freedom for innovation, progress, and the pursuit of prosperity.
In this industry, freedom can be interpreted as our ability to or independence to function within legal and regulatory boundaries. All companies like ours ensure the society that we will operate with transparency, prioritize environmental sustainability, and invest in cleaner technologies. So, by doing so, we uphold the principles of freedom and contribute to a more sustainable and equitable future.
Within the scope of our conversation, I have verified data supporting the claim that our operations adhere to legal and regulatory boundaries. It is crucial to recognize the responsibility that comes with this freedom. Our company commits to transparency, prioritizing environmental sustainability, and investing in cleaner technologies for a more sustainable and equitable future.
According to MT Princess Impress, the tank carrying 800,000 liters of industrial fuel oil sank off the central island of Mindoro, south of the capital, Manila. The oil slick has also spread across 40 kilometers off Oriental Mindoro, impacting 9 towns, 108 individuals, 61 tourist sites, and causing at least 122 people to fall sick. The government declared a fishing ban in the affected towns, impacting nearly 18,000 fisher folks who depend on the sea for their food and livelihood. This exemplifies that the neglect of big companies has been slowly deteriorating humankind's and the environment's condition.
With what we stand for, utilitarianism teaches us that actions should promote the greatest good for the greatest number. In this context, it means considering the well-being of communities affected by oil spills. In addition, authentic human freedom extends way beyond personal freedom. It demands responsible actions that honor the dignity and well-being of all.
The freedom these companies claim is contrary to this concept. Thus, their future actions must align with Christian ethical responsibilities, especially considering the broader impact on human lives and the environment. On top of this, personal responsibility, a fundamental principle in Christian morality, means being accountable for our actions, mainly when they affect others.
We argue that these companies must take personal responsibility and accountability for the environmental consequences of their operations, aligning with Christian morality's teachings. On top of this, the Bible underscores the importance of water as a life-sustaining source. It guides us towards stewardship and responsible management of natural resources, aligning with Christian morality.
Isaiah chapter 55 verse 1 states that clean water is God's good gift for the well-being of all. It isn't just to make it a commodity reserved for the privileged few. It is evident that these principles are not just academic. They form the moral fabric that should guide the actions of individuals and corporations alike.
We advocate for a holistic approach beyond legal boundaries to consider the well-being of the communities and the environment. Our concerns aren't just theoretical. They represent a commitment to ethical responsibility.
Now a prompt for our advocates. Despite advocates and so many advocacies constantly working for years to eliminate issues, why are these still prevalent in society today? Once again, despite advocacies consistently working for years to eliminate issues, why are these still prevalent today?
Despite ongoing efforts, achieving lasting change is impeded by obstacles. For instance, oil spills causes enduring harms, necessitating addressing lasting effects on ecosystems and water quality. A prolonged lack of awareness about environmental repercussions and preventive measures extends the time frame for achieving these goals. A big part of this problem is the government's lack of support and initiative. The lack of specific legal mechanisms for enforcement makes it challenging to compel compliance with sustainable practices in the aftermath of oil spills.
Are you sure about your claims? We all know that the government funds your cause. So what's your point?
According to the United Nations World Water Development Report last March 2023, Around 2 billion people worldwide cannot access clean and safe drinking water. This statistic is enough to show that the government's efforts are insufficient.
This challenge hinders environmentalism, limiting our capability to combat environmental issues. This also forfeits personal responsibility, as people are hampered from taking accountability despite acknowledging responsibility for their actions. In addition, this prevents people from adhering to natural law, which emphasizes that God wants us to do good things, including empathy for humankind and the environment.
As a CEO, I will not deny that our operations cause slight damage to the environment. However, it is beyond my control even if I am against it. If I choose to put a stop to our operation, not only our company, but also the society as a whole will suffer. I'm sure Ms. Jazz shares the same sentiments. Am I right, Ms. Jazz?
Right, as Miss Ellen mentioned earlier, we supply quality oil to the society, particularly to our consumers. Therefore, it is our responsibility to ensure that our operations maintain the ability to deliver high quality oil even if they result in minimal environmental damage.
However, I wouldn't say that I am not privileged. Most of the funds go to my company. Perhaps I can aid since there is always some extra if I would sacrifice some personal comfort if it means saving our world in the long run. What do you think, Jazz?
Honestly, I agree. The concepts that Miss Chloe, Miss Shana, and Miss Jaira shared today, such as deep ecology and utilitarianism, are eye-openers. They evoke sense of consideration in me.
Thank you very much. Alright, I'd say that's a wrap up to the prompts. We have discovered so much on both points of view, and both are indeed truly valid. However, I'm delighted to hear that the realizations from our CEOs. Before we end entirely, let's hear some insights from our guests.
Now that we have shared our stance about the topic, it felt liberating as both parties could set things straight and clearly explain their outlook in life. Now that I think of it, I just couldn't find a more suitable way to accept our differences than to apply the concept of the 5 general norms of the human person.
Finding common ground can help bridge the gap between our two conflicting perspectives. Overall, acknowledging and respecting the diverse dimensions of the human person can contribute to a more holistic and inclusive approach to crafting sustainable solutions that align with the broader well-being of humanity and the planet.
As we listen to the other perspective, we've realized that we were too blinded by our goals, that we did not see the effect of our doings in the environment, especially with water sanitation. We somehow relate our realization in Plato's allegory of the cave in a way that we are the prisoners. We were too occupied by our goals that we make them as our reality. We are close to accepting others' opinions, but by the end of this conversation, we had progress from ignorance of others to being knowledgeable of what is happening.
Thank you. Now let's hear from the other team.
Thank you, Lori. After the discussion, I'm happy and thrilled that we finally share the same sentiments. As advocates, we have mentioned earlier that our goal was to conduct alleviation efforts and influence the multitude to join us in combating unclean water and sanitation.
Concerning this, there are 5 general norms of a human person, one of which is the human person as a relational being. This norm emphasizes that to be a human person, we need to be directed to others. We need to assess whether laws, standards, and actions genuinely promote the common good and communal good.
With what Shana had mentioned, we firmly believe that clean water and sanitation not only help preserve the resources found in the environment, but also paves the way for communities to achieve a better quality of life.
That was a lot covered, and I'm glad that the two parties have come up with a resolution. Now, for all the viewers watching, no matter how old you are, where and who you are, you can always advocate for unity. Allow our lovely guests to educate you further, our readers.
Hello, everyone. As you have observed, the three of us have constantly been talking about the importance of giving value to our environment and how it affects both humans and nature. Hence, we are encouraging you to join our cause and partake in collective action to alleviate the issue of unclean water and sanitation, which ultimately leads us to fostering sustainable change.
We hope that through this fruitful discussion, we have inspired each of you to execute environmental practices and become a steward of the environment.
May our discussion be a lesson for everyone, especially oil companies like mine, to transform the oil industry into a force of positive change. By embracing sustainability, prioritizing environmental responsibility, and fostering innovation, our oil companies can play a pivotal role in shaping a future where energy meets the needs of today without compromising the possibilities of tomorrow.
Now that we have recognized something important today, we can use our companies to inspire other similar entities to transform their practices, creating a scenario where both the company and the people can mutually benefit. Practicing sustainable initiatives and responsible actions that can set positive example for the industry, fostering a collective commitment to environmental and social well-being. This enhances our corporate reputation and contributes to a more sustainable and harmonious future for all stakeholders involved. Maraming salamat.
To our viewers, I encourage you to engage in conversations that bridge diverse perspectives and contribute to sustainable solutions. Our actions, no matter small, can collectively lead to positive change. Let's strive for a future where decisions align with humanity's and planet's well-being.
I cannot express my gratitude for this successful episode. Thank you, Miss Chloe Guzman, Miss Shanna Oy, CEO Ellen Bejarin, and CEO Jazz Rescallar. To our lovely research Jan and Jara, and of course, to you, our Unity advocates. Stay educated the right way, the agile way.